What's up, y'all? Champ Ron, Minding Your Business podcast, coming to you, man, on Friday, July the 6th, 2018. I'm actually live here at the office at Uptown, which I'm excited to be on a number of different fronts, man. So you can see it's a lot going on here today. People are all here, enjoying their lunch, having good times and whatnot. So we're getting ready to get kicking off with the show. So I'm gonna let y'all jump in, and we're gonna get into our episode here shortly. So, and I'm enjoying some lunch. So while y'all waiting to jump on, I'm gonna enjoy a little lunch. I love their roast beef too, man. There's a lot going on all the way around. Excuse me. Shout out to everybody that's living their dream, out running their business. The week doesn't really wrap up. There's no weekend when you're kind of running your own thing. Every day, 7 days a week, presents another opportunity. So if you're not closing a deal, you're talking about a deal, or you're in the midst of a deal. So that's what ends up happening when you're running your thing. Timothy, how you doing, man? Thank you for joining on. I'm gonna let y'all kind of filter in a little bit. Office of Uptown, Champ Ron, Minding Your Business podcast. Justice Spencer, what's up, brother? Here at the Office of Uptown, Minding Your Business podcast, Champ Ron. I'm waiting till y'all filter in, man. I'm just gonna enjoy my lunch while y'all come in, if y'all don't mind. Then we're gonna start recording the podcast. See, the beautiful thing about the podcast, and the way a lot of people do it, the way I've found my niche in doing it, is to be mobile. So y'all know, y'all never see me in no studio, no fancy equipment. I'm here with 2 phones and a microphone. Yep, so dig that, man. So you got everybody in here. Your former mayor, he's over there, acting like he reading. So it's all good, man. Travis, what's up? So I'm gonna give y'all just a chance to kind of jump in, man, and then we're gonna get started. Brittany, what's going on? How you doing, girl? My soul recently celebrated her birthday. I think Brittany turned 18 the other day, man. Is that right, Soar? Brittany Thornton, what's up? You turned 18 the other day? Did Brittany celebrate her 18th birthday? She's an adult now. Shout out to Brittany Thornton with Juice Orange Mound. Well, man, today I've got a meeting coming in. I've got Alton Cryer coming in with STS Enterprises, so I'm looking forward to that. I got a meeting with him, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the podcast, because got some good information I want to get into fairly quickly. What's up, Gil? Gil Carter, First Year Foundation Incorporated. Lakeisha Adams, how you doing, girl? Listen, y'all, I'm here live. I'm at the Office of Uptown. Many of y'all are familiar with this location. So we got people all around doing their thing. Nice mellow environment right now. But they'll change the music up some in a little bit. And listen, I'm eating my lunch, so y'all forgive me. It's okay if I take a few bites of my sandwich during this recording of the podcast. Episode 52, to flip or to hold. I want to talk about a few different things that relates to real estate investing that people may not quite realize when they're involved in different things, or they're looking to get into real estate. So let's go ahead and get started, man, because I don't want to have a whole lot of delays today, man. I want to get right to it. Right to it. So, few housekeeping. If you want to comment, make sure you do that. Please share this. Share it with 5 to 10 people right now. Click the share button. Share this podcast because there's a lot of people who are going to want to hear this information. Right. As y'all know, the Minding Your Business podcast is brought to you by Brooks Brothers Consulting. Brooks Brothers Consulting was started by my brother and I June of 2013, and we provide alternative financing. So essentially, we sell money. We provide alternative financing for acquisition purchases, like what we're going to talk about in today's episode when it relates to real estate. So we provide funding for real estate investors, whether you're new to investing, whether you've been doing it 1,000 years, whether you're looking to purchase equipment, whether you're looking to factor, whatever it is, consumer financing, whatever it is that you're looking to get capital to be able to acquire assets and take care of the things that you need to within your business or even personally, you need to go to brooksbrothersconsulting.com. That's brooksbrothersconsulting.com. And you need to call me, 901-808-3801. That's 901-808-3801. And you need to get with us ASAP. The market rates are starting to go up a little bit. Now's the time if you're looking to get your hands on some capital quickly and with little rigmarole outside of some of the financial institutions. You need to get with us, 901-808-3801. Also building the Champron brand in terms of leadership and business development, coaching and mentorship. I've had the great honor and opportunity to do that with several folks, whether it's over the years or even here recently. And so I'm looking to brand that, and that's where you see the Champron brand. So you'll see the site come up, and you'll see some different events related to that. And so really excited about what that opportunity is, man. But first, as y'all know, I'm kicking off the podcast, episode 52, to flip or to hold. And we got to kick the music off, baby. Let's do it. Gerald Jones, what's going on, brother? Susan Day, what's up? Coach Cleo, what's going on, my man? Glad y'all could join in. Yeah, man. Gil, this is clean eating, brother. I'm going to take a few bites of my sandwich while I do the podcast, too. Office of Uptown, right here in downtown Memphis, Tennessee, was the third African-American-owned co-working place to open up in this planet we call Earth. So whether you say it's flat, whether you say it's round, whichever one. They're all over. So you can see people are enjoying themselves and having a good time meeting here at the Office of Uptown. Really nice layout, great food. I love this pomegranate tea too, man. Shame on them for even giving me that, man, because I could probably sit there and drink a whole gallon of that. So yeah. I'm your host, Champron. This is the Minding Your Business podcast, coming to you Friday, July the 6th. We come live right here today at the Office of Uptown in downtown Memphis, Tennessee. Hope everybody's coming off great holiday on Wednesday, no matter whether you choose to celebrate it overtly or not, or covertly, as a lot of people do. They talked bad about the holiday and then sat up and barbecued and put on a United States shorts, American flag shorts and everything. They just didn't take no pictures in it. So I know how people operate, man. But man, I'm really excited about today. Hope everybody says, man, there's so much going on. I can literally do several podcasts of everything that's going on geopolitically and that's going on in sports. I know a lot of people all week long have been talking about LeBron James going to the Los Angeles Lakers and all the NBA shake-up, free agency and the draft and everything like that. So there's plenty of places where you can go and get that information, of course, but we've got our own subject today. This is episode 52, man, so I'm very excited. To flip or to hold is the subject for today. And I want to get right into it because then I've got my guy, my boy, Alton Cryer, guy that I've had a chance to mentor and kind of see grow in the business game and really love what he's doing. So I'm going to be meeting with him. We won't necessarily be on the podcast. We're going to do another podcast episode with him at some point in the future, but he and I are going to meet here shortly. But I want to go ahead and get with you all on flipping and holding with real estate. And so here's kind of the thing. If you look at anybody that is obtained any kind of massive wealth, when you talk about from a financial standpoint, so I'm not talking about other forms of wealth, which I greatly believe in. There are many other ways to amass wealth in this life besides just money. But if you're talking about money, for people who have amassed any kind of wealth, they've done that through real estate. Period. Not network marketing. Now, matter of fact, the people who start network marketing companies are people who make their money through real estate most of the time. Now, there are people who do things in stock market and things like that, but the reason people make their money in real estate is, and there's several reasons for that. One being, real estate doesn't have the fluctuations. You notice, for those that have invested in the stock market, if you've ever been through any of the down cycles in the market, it can change almost by the minute. So the value of something within the stock market can change like that. From moment to moment, day to day, hour to hour, whatever it is, even minute to minute. Real estate has a much slower change in value. So you ask why? Well, the reason real estate changes slower in value is because the value is assessed by an appraiser. It's not assessed by continuous trading, if that makes sense. So in the stock market where you've got thousands and maybe millions of people who are continuously trading, so they're continuously impacting the speculative nature. And I'll define speculation here in a second. They're continuing to speculate by constantly trading and things like that. Real estate, in its general sense, doesn't have quite the fluctuations in speculation. Because of that, it's a much more stable business practice. It's much more stable. It has the opportunity for passive and actual active income, which I'll talk about here in a second too, along with speculation. But so real estate's really where it's at. That's where people, if you want to be able to amass your financial situation, amass your assets and things like that, you've got to do it through real estate, whether it's property and or land acquisition. You've got to own it. If all you do your whole life is rent it from someone else, then you're creating that income for somebody else. And we'll get to that a little bit too. But so real estate's where it's going to be at. That's, it's not going to be in your 401k at work. Now, for me, I use insurance, and that's going to be another podcast topic because that's another way that you can generate. But the primary way, if you take anybody's portfolio, it is amassed through real estate. They may do other things. They may get into owning companies. They may get into the stock market. They may get into different trading, forex, and all that kind of thing, trading currencies. But it all originated, for the most part, if you were to take 9 out of 10 of them, it originated through some form of real estate acquisition. So what that means is, for those of you that are listening to the podcast, is at some point you need to get to where you own real estate. You can't create that. They're not creating land anymore. Now, there's a few countries that are able to go out and build islands and things like that in the middle of the ocean. But for the most part, population growth and things like that drive the need for real estate. And populations are, for the most part, the foreseeable future, are always going to be growing. They always outpace deaths, right? So more folk are born than die, right? So that's going to make your population grow. So let's just break this thing down all the way. So I'm going to talk about two areas. There's many ways that you can acquire real estate and get into real estate and things like that. There are two primary ways that people tend to do it, and that's flipping, right? What's referred to as flipping, which is a speculative way of you purchasing and selling real estate in a very quick manner to take advantage of market conditions. Okay? You're taking advantage of the market conditions, so you're speculating. Often it's very comparable to the stock market, and you're purchasing a property usually at a distressed condition or whatever condition, but you're purchasing a property with the idea that it's going to have some increase in value, most of the time through some kind of rehab. So changing the condition of the property, upgrading it, allows you to then be able to sell it to somebody at a higher value, because that investment that you made into the property leads to a change in the market condition for that property. So at a very basic level, you purchase a property at $30,000. You put $10,000 into the rehab, and so now you're in it for $40,000. The appraised value of the property is $80,000. So guess what? Now you've got a $40,000 gain minus your expenses and things like that. So that is active income, meaning that you get a lump sum. So when you sell that property, if you owe $40,000 on it and it's now worth $80,000, and you sell it for somewhere in the middle, and you have a gain, all right, that gain is taxed. I am not a tax expert. Okay, I repeat, I am not a tax expert. So you need to check with your CPA to verify what your particular or specific tax situation is. Just know that the gains on flipping real estate, on selling real estate, are taxed at a higher level. They're taxed at a higher level than your W-2 wages. They're taxed at a higher level than your 1099. They're taxed at a higher percentage. So you need to see what that percentage is so that you know. So when you flip real estate, the strategy with that is it's fairly low maintenance other than the rehab of the property. So when you rehab the property, you're making an investment, so that you have a cost of whatever that it is. There's a number of things: the roof, sheetrock, plumbing, cabinetry, appliances, carpet, flooring, any of that kind of stuff. All come into whatever you rehab. Things with a lot. So there's a slew of things that you can do to a property to increase its value, to change its market condition. Okay? So that is what you call active income. Active income requires your day-to-day involvement. So active income, when you look at it from real estate flipping, is the same, just like many people are doing. Go to work. When you go to work, you're earning an active income. You're being paid based on a promise from whatever company you work for that they're going to pay you at this rate per whatever time, whether it's per hour, whether it's a set number of hours as a salary, whether it's over, whatever it is, however they assess how they're going to pay you, they pay you. You only get paid when you're there. You may get so many PTO days that's, they pay you while you're on vacation and things like that. A lot of people have that. But for the most part, when you work 365 days out the year at a job, you're earning active income. That income is only coming when you're there. When you're not there, and for people that are hourly, they know this, when you're not there, you're not making any money. You earn nothing. You earn zero. When you're flipping real estate, when you're not flipping a property, you're not making any money. So you make a nice lump sum in the most part, because the change in the market conditions usually have a larger increase than when I talk about rental income, for example, or owning your own business, which sometimes, at least in the very beginning, takes a lot of capital, but then you start getting into passive income. Okay, and I'll define passive income in a second, y'all, but right now we're talking about active income as you relate to real estate flipping. So being a kind of a solopreneur, is another way of earning active income. So the people who start a business as kind of a solopreneur, which is a lot of people. What's up, LT? What's going on, Lawrence Thompson? How you doing, man? Derek Watson, what's up, man? Cameron, Angel, Tammy, Yasmin, what's going on? How y'all doing, man? Thanks for joining on. When you have this kind of active income, when you have kind of your solo business, whether it's your side hustle business or something that you're just kind of running yourself, without any kind of process, you're earning an active income, meaning that when you're not working the business, nothing happens. So if you have the type of business process that is overly predicated on what you do, that's not a passive income, that's an active income. With an active income, you leave, you go to the beach for 2 weeks, nothing happens unless you're still working. But if you disconnect, you get off social media, you turn your phone off, you don't check email, you don't answer the phone, right? And you go away for 2 weeks to Siberia, you don't earn anything because there's no process of anything that's generating outside of yourself, which is fine. But pretty much what you've done with that is you've created your job. So your job hasn't been created by anybody else. You created it yourself. Nothing wrong with that. That's kind of part of the gig economy. It's where people are contracting themselves. I do this as well. People contract themselves, and so they've created their own job in some cases. They're not relying on someone else posting a job on Indeed or something like that, and then Monster.com or ZipRecruiter or whatever, and then applying for it, getting on, and then working it under the right to work laws that you have, particularly here in Tennessee and other states, where you can let them go at any time you want, and they can let you go at any time they want outside of legalities, right? That's earning an active income. That's fine, but that's not going to allow you to amass a financial kind of wealth. You may be fulfilled in that. Most people aren't, as you poll people in this country. Only earning a active income doesn't satisfy most people because it doesn't allow them to really get ahead. What allows you to get ahead is more of a passive income. So let me define passive income. Passive income is earned without much effort, certainly over the long scale. Regardless of kind of where you are, it continues to generate, which is the argument for rental income. So we talked some about the active income with real estate flipping. Let me define rental income and then bring it all home together. So with rental income, you acquire a property, you may rehab it, you may not. It may already be in a condition for people to live in. And so you have a person or persons that do an agreement with you that agree to pay you whatever your set rate is or fluctuating rate to be able to occupy that property. And you earn what's called rental income, and they do that typically every month. There's some instances where they might pay once a week or they might even pay once a year. But most cases, probably 98-99% of the time, they're paying on a monthly basis. So you're earning that income. That income is the spread between what the real estate costs you, so whatever your mortgage is on it and your insurance and any other expenses that you have with the property. So that's something you got to be somewhat careful of when you start talking about the active income of flipping. Now, some people, they look to flip and then they end up becoming investors because of that, because the market conditions don't attract buyers within a certain amount of time before their capital begins to wane and kind of go out. So you got to be careful. That's some of the downside of flipping. Flipping is a good strategy. Just because it's speculative doesn't mean it's a bad strategy. So don't take it as a negative connotation, y'all. But you have to look at it within what it is that you're trying to do and trying to achieve. It's good for if you're trying to get a large equity injection or a large capital injection all at once. Um, so some people that are really heavy in the real estate, they do both. They're flippers and they're investors from the income standpoint. I don't have to tell y'all about some of the challenges with rental income. Of course, you're dealing with people renting your house, and so that can be something that can be daunting. That can be a challenge when people are renting your house because sometimes your feeling of having the control over what they're doing because you don't necessarily have a visibility into it. And the risk that you're taking is that, one, they don't pay. There's no guarantee that they're going to pay you just because you have a rental agreement or a contract. They may not pay you the full amount, which is another risk. There's cost if they don't pay you, of course, and you have to go to court and that kind of thing. The condition of the house could be impacted because of people being in your house. So you have the risk of occupancy. So while you don't earn the type of big hit that you get in a real estate flip, a rental income strategy is a great long-term strategy. And that's the type of strategy that the wealthy have. Again, when you're talking about wealth in terms of from a financial standpoint, doesn't mean they're wealthy in all of life. Because like I said before, there's many other ways to acquire wealth and to achieve wealth outside of money. But when you talk about real estate, you're talking about money for the most part. So with your rental income, I'm going to share with you all just a quick story of my early days in real estate. I had a property in Raleigh. For those that aren't familiar with Memphis, that's kind of the northeast section of Memphis. It's a stabilized community now. At one point in time, it was kind of the hotbed kind of community within Memphis. There was a lot of growth, a lot of residential growth, some commercial growth, but a lot of residential growth in the area. But a few years ago, I had a property that I got on a really good deal in really good condition. There was an investor. He was getting to the point where he was ready to kind of cash in and kind of call it a career. And me being young and kind of vibrant, that kind of thing, I was gung-ho, tenacious. Took the guy about 4 or 5 months to really start messing with me, but when he did, it was a profitable endeavor on a number of different fronts. So I acquired this property. I found a tenant. I had a tenant in there, a young lady, single young lady, 2 young kids, solid income with FedEx, that kind of thing. So she started out really good. She was paying, man. It was great income because I got it at a really good price. So the spread I was making was nice passive income. Matter of fact, off this one property, I was making more than half of what I was when I was working a job at that time in banking. So a few months go by and something happened, something impacted her. And I never really knew what that was. But something impacted her. She started becoming slower and slower pay. So normally, rent's due on the 1st, and she would pay, like, the start out, y'all, I'm telling you, she was hitting it. I mean, in some cases, she was hitting it on the 30th or the 31st, which is always love. But, so she's paying religiously for the first several months. And then, all of a sudden, it started drifting to the 5th and the 6th, and then the 10th, and then the 15th. So I'm talking to her like, let me know what's up. Tell me what's going on, and whatever she had going on or whoever was in her ear kind of led her to not keep the lines of communication open with me as the landlord, as the owner, like it should have been. Now, a lot of y'all that know me know I'm not I'm not going to on the attack and things like that. I try to help people as much as I can if you communicate with me. Now, if you go ghost on me, that's a different story. We got different problems. But so I'm trying to work with her. So then we get to one of those months where I'm calling, I'm not hearing nothing. No, I'm either getting sent a voicemail or texts aren't being returned, no email, no nothing. So one day after work, closed up the bank, I go down, and of course, then I've got a few different properties. So most of them are not in the best of neighborhoods in terms of certain elements going on. So I carry the pistol. So I go up to the house. I've got a pistol, on my side, tucked into my slacks. I walk up to the house, right? In Raleigh now. I walk up to the house, knock on the door, ring the doorbell. Nobody opens it real quick, but there's a car in the driveway. So somebody's there. And then I heard a dog start barking, and then I hear a kid, like a small kid. So then I'm thinking, she's going to be there. Well, she's not there, but this guy opens the door, which is apparently her boyfriend or whatever relationship. He wasn't family. So her boyfriend, as I thought it was, opens the door. So he wants to know what I want. So I said, what I want, I need to talk to her name, and I gave her name. I need to talk to her. Well, he says, well, man, what the hell you need to talk to her for? That's my woman. So here we go. All right, so I said, look here, bro. I need to talk to her because we have business, right? Now, my business isn't with him, so I don't need to tell him nothing about what's going on with this and all that kind of thing because my business isn't with him. He's not on the contract. She is. So I need to talk to her. Well, oh, man, you own the property, is what he said. So I said, yeah, I own the property, and I need to talk with her about business related to the property. They said, well, I know she hadn't paid, but, man, she gonna pay you, man. That's what he tells me. So it's like, well, I hadn't been able to communicate with her. She's not returning my calls and nothing like that. So it looked like, she might be, not have the intention of doing so. So when is she gonna be home? When can we do that? So he steps up to me, right? Now I got this pistol on the side. Two kids running around on the inside, dog running around. So he steps up to me, man, I told you she's gonna get with you, she's gonna pay. So I said, man, look here. She needs to call me immediately, but I don't have no kind of business with your ass, so you need to kind of, back up a little bit, man. Because, I'm not trying to hear it, because if I gotta go that route, I'll go that route. This is just me as the owner, a young guy. So I come away from that. She ended up making that month's payment, y'all, and then eventually I had to put her out because she just stopped paying. So that's, like I talked about a minute ago, that's the risk, right? That's the risk. Oh, you good? You can walk through here. So that's the that's the risk that you have with rental income. Is that there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees in anything you'll do out here. But you just got to reduce your level of speculation. So if I flipped the house, right? So if I bought it, never put a tenant in it, and my idea was just to buy it and then quickly sell it, I could have made, on that particular house, I probably have made $12,000, right? Now, I made more than that over a period of time on rental income, but I had more of the risk at the end because I ended up having to put her out, and I had to find a new tenant, which has a cost. Because every day, every month that I don't have a tenant, I'm not earning the rental income. So I considered flipping it, but I didn't. I kept it as a rental income property for a few years, and then eventually I did sell it. And I did earn as some of the, as you got out of 08 and 09 and some of the downturn in the economy, and real estate values started coming back. So like I talked about earlier, market conditions changed. So as the market conditions changed, it allowed for me to be able to take advantage of that gain that we were experiencing. Whereas in 08, as many of y'all know, that market condition changed where there was a lot of losses. A lot of values had dropped below even what people owed on a property, which is always going to be a bad sign. So what I ended up doing, what I learned from that as a best practice, was I invested in property management. Shout out to my guy, Mike Simpson with Realty Capital. I got with him, old basketball AAU buddy, and he's got a property management company, does a great job. And so Marathon Management's solid. There's a lot of other ones out there, but I got involved with him managing the property. I paid a percentage, usually about 8 to 10% a month of the income. But it was more than worth it because they handled all these kind of things for me. So I had the passive income still coming in, but I didn't have to deal with some of the rigmarole that comes with non-paying tenants, finding quality tenants and things like that. They always did a great job with that. And so today I do own 3 properties, and I do own a piece of land over on Chelsea a lot. So I'm looking to kind of build my portfolio back up. My personal strategy is a combination of the two that I mentioned, which is I'll do a flip where it really makes sense, and depending on if I'm looking to get kind of a lump sum short-term kind of payment. So if I need short-term equity injection and things like that, if I can acquire property really cheap, or as cheap as possible. I know a lot of people talk about the land bank. That's become popular in the last few years, particularly here in Shelby County in the Memphis area, which is starting to draw the price up, damn it. But everybody's finding out about it. So, but if you can acquire at a reasonable price and have enough of a spread between what you owe and the market condition appraised value, you really got something. So I do a little bit of that, but my main thing, probably 80% of my real estate strategy is to hold. I want to be able to own, and I want to be able to earn the passive income that comes with real estate rental income. And so my personal strategy is I look at areas. So I look at areas that either I feel are primed to come up based on their location. So as you say in real estate, it's location, location, location. So I look at those particular locations, either where development is already taking place or where it's about to take place, particularly if it's in a central part of the city. Where in most cities, in most urban cities, wherever, the most valuable land is going to be in the center point of the city. And then it tends to drop as you go sometimes north and south, or sometimes even east and west. And in some cases, depending on one of those, depending on how the geography works and if there's any bodies of water and things like that, sometimes going east and west can create market conditions where values go up. And sometimes north and south. It just depends on the city. But so that's my particular strategy. I look at certain areas, and you got to have a good eye in real estate for distressed property where you can get it back to a certain level without a ton of equity injection of yourself or a lot of capital injection. That's not easy because more and more people are in the game than ever before, which is great. But that makes it a little more challenging for having that right eye, and you've got to be prepared to move. That's the big thing today. Today, you've got to be prepared that if you find an opportunity within real estate, you got to be prepared to move, because guess what? Other people are going to recognize that that investment opportunity to go jump on, whether it's a flip, speculative, or it's rental income. So there's no disadvantage to either one. Just know that from a tax standpoint too, like I mentioned earlier, real estate flipping is going to put you in a different tax category with that income. So you're going to get that lump sum. But if you start screwing around with it and you don't take care of your business, you can find yourself, and I can give you plenty of examples of people that found themselves in tough tax situations from not handling their business with their CPA and that kind of thing. And listen, when you get into real estate investing, y'all can't be going to H&R Block, and y'all can't be buying TurboTax. I know TurboTax are talking about they do this and do that. Listen, when y'all start investing, even if you're going to be speculative, get a CPA. Okay, get a CPA that's reputable, that can handle your business and get your taxes done right. Not the little tax man on the side corner street. Again, not H&R Block and all that. I'm not knocking them, but they're fine if you got a 1040 and you're just going straight through. But if you're serious about investing, you're investing in yourself. You're betting on yourself, right? And you're betting on real estate and your investment strategy. Don't play. Get you a real CPA, okay? Get you a real CPA that can do his thing. Yeah, somebody. Yeah. So get you a real CPA, okay? Let's not play around with it. So, a real CPA. That's one of the best things I can tell you. Because a real CPA will help you in a lot of different ways when it comes to how to make sure that you're taking care of your tax situation and not getting yourself in any kind of issue like that. So Elliot the Main Sales says talk about the 2-year tax law. Actually, I'm gonna get into that actually on another episode, Elliot, because there's a lot to that. And I'm getting low on time, brother, but I promise, man, I'm gonna get to another episode where it talks about real estate, and I do want to get into the tax law, because some of the changes in tax law that impact your real estate, which are very crucial. And I want to make sure I have my notes on that, Elliot, so I don't want to just speak from the head on that, because there's some deep-rooted things that people really need to know, and they need to know the truth on. So y'all check back on that episode, because I may even have a real estate attorney join me on that episode to talk about that, because there are some serious tax implications when it comes to real estate. So the big thing is you just want to make sure you have a professional on your team as it comes to that. Elliot says 2 years to avoid the extra taxes on flipping homes. Yes, yep, that is true, and it's very basic, Elliot, man. Very true. There's some other pieces to it, but he's exactly right. There is a kind of 2-year, grace period that's been given. One of the things that you can thank the current administration in Washington for, that is free. It's designed to encourage more speculation into flipping homes. But there's a little more to it. So I want to make sure that people have the truth and nothing but the truth from me here on the Minding Your Business podcast. But so just to sum this whole thing up, when you're flipping real estate, be careful and make sure you understand the market conditions. Make sure you've got the time and the right players on your team to do the rehab, and that you can find the seller expeditiously. So there's a little legwork you're gonna have to do. So if you're working a job, it may be hard for you to flip real estate. That's kind of something you might have to get out and kind of have the time that you do on your own. Not to say you can't do it from work, but there's a lot to that. There's a lot to that. So you've got the flipping side of it, and then you've got the investing side of it from rental income, which you're more apt to be able to do from your job if you want to kind of do it part-time and keep your day job. You can do that because with rental income, again, it's passive, so you're earning it every month, at least ideally and contractually. But just watch your tax situation on either one of them. Debrick Watson, my guy, man, says with credible concepts, 1031 exchange. I want to add that actually, Debrick, to Elliot's comment in terms of the 2-year kind of freeze or at least reduction in the extra taxation on flipping property. I want to kind of add that, the 1031 exchange, to that, because there are also some things with that, brother, that I want to loop in. So that's actually a good segue for another podcast episode that I'll do as we talk about some of the transfer of ownership in real estate, which is very important. And that's actually a way that, for those of you that are listening to this podcast and you said, Champ, really, I don't have no money, I just got paid today and I got paid $1,500 and I owe $1,600 as soon as I get it. I understand that. You know what I mean? I understand that. I understand that everybody is not in a position. That's how I've been that way too. Where you don't necessarily have the money because baby needs this, the wife or the girlfriend, whoever it is needs that, the boyfriend, the husband, whatever your situation is. A lot of people live kind of check to check when it comes to living in this country. And so you may not always have the income to get into real estate. However, you'll be surprised what you can do when you put a little bit of money aside. So maybe that extra trip, maybe you 86 that, maybe that going to the club on Friday, and the 4th of July outfit, and putting 20 slabs of ribs on the grill, and then maybe you can save on some of that, and you can actually invest in your future with real estate ownership or even with flipping. So there's a lot of ways to get into real estate, and as Deverett mentions here on Facebook Live, 1031 exchange, when you start getting into the ownership piece of how real estate transfers hands in terms of ownership, that's a great way. And if I ever do an episode where you start looking at real estate wholesaling and things like that, there are great ways to get into real estate without having to tap your credit a whole lot, and without having to do a whole bunch of rigmarole with some different things as far as with money and things like that. So, brothers, thank y'all so much, man, because those are great topics I want to add to another podcast. But, man, listen, my guy just arrived, so we're getting ready to meet. This is Mr. Alton Cryer, STS Enterprises. So, I done sat here and let my lunch get cold talking with y'all, man, but we're getting ready to have our meeting, man. So it's great to meet with young brothers that are out here being progressives for change. So I'm honored to be able to do that, man. But just to wrap this up, real estate flipping, rental income, determine what your strategy is. Make sure that you got the right tax professional on your team. No bootleg tax professional. Make sure you get somebody legit. Get you somebody that had to go to school to watch it. Not these folks that just go online and print a certificate. Quan says, is assuming ownership worth it? Oh, most definitely it is. Ownership's ownership, brother. I believe, Quan, you're talking about like an assumable mortgage. That's another topic that you could talk for a long time, but yes, it is. You still have to qualify, of course, for the mortgage, but it's a great way, particularly if who you're assuming it from is in a great position with the debt, meaning that the market conditions are right and the values are there, and they're at a good kind of equity position with the property. That's a great way because it can save you on a lot of the closing costs. You'll still have closing and recording and things like that, but it's going to save you on some of the closing costs for sure. So definitely, man. So we talk about that, man. Anybody that's got any questions, if I can help anybody, make sure that you email me or check me out on Facebook. Email's ron@themybpodcast.com. That's ron@themybpodcast.com. Check me out. I love to be able to help anybody that I can. So, man, listen, y'all have a phenomenal weekend, man. Hope this has been helpful to as many of you as possible. I'm Champ Ron. This is the Minding Your Business podcast. Thank y'all so much. We're going to sign this thing off, man. It's going to be a pretty weekend. I think it's supposed to rain some this weekend here in Memphis, but anyway, man, we're going to enjoy it anyway. We'll be back next week, man, for another episode. So shout out to y'all. Peace. Listen, y'all, thank y'all so much for checking it out, man, here on Facebook Live. Share this with about 10 people. If you got any feedback, man, make sure that you inbox me. And, man, we're just going to keep this thing moving, man, with more information, more subject matter, things like that. Champ Ron, the Minding Your Business podcast, here at the office of Uptown in downtown Memphis, baby.